A update on the Feta. So it's been in the fridge for about a month. So let's have a look at them. And before I carry on, I must remember that before we started, they were well, the big block was 910 grams. So we'll be able to weigh that and see what its I've got the scales here, and see what kind of change we've had in it, and then that's the one with ash, so we'll get that one out last. So, what's happened with this? It's just been at the top of the fridge. It's got a little bit of growth, but that's fine. So we can tell it's shrunk because the cloth is puckered up. Okay, we've got a little bit of. It's gone the same way as the other one. So it's dried out in the same way. We've got a little bit of growth. I'm not bothered about that. I'm just curious. So, we should wait first, shouldn't we? Alright, so we're down to 560 grams. 560 grams. So it's obviously not lost as much weight as the cheap Feta, because it's got more of a centre to it than the the cheap Feta, there's more how do I describe this without mathematical terms? It's denser. So it's got so this is it. So this one has got less surface area for the volume of cheese. So therefore it's going to take longer for it to dry out, and we're going to lose less moisture for like a month's type of time. So don't want to cut into it. No, I want to give it some long. I want to give it longer. I want to give it longer. It's a lot firmer than it was. Let's just cut a bit off the outside. Yeah, it's gone like the other one. It's got that crustiness on the outside. I suppose we really should change the cloth, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because what I'll simply do is I'll cut off. If the outside starts to go really mouldy, I'll just simply cut off the outside, and then we'll just have a look at the inside. So that's okay. So it's lost 400 grams worth of weight. Well, 300 and something grams worth of weight. Like a third. Yeah, it's lost like a third of its weight. So we didn't weigh this one, did we? Quick wash my hands. I didn't weigh this one, did I? Let's have a look at it. Let's see what's happened. Alright, okay. So the fat's starting to want to come out of it. That's kind of quite interesting. But nothing much has happened. I'm probably making it go really mouldy because of that. That's okay. So that's after a month. We can leave it from there. That's kind of gone the same way as the one in the cling film though. So when I wrapped the original ones in cling film, it went a little bit like that, like the fat started to come out from the outside. So I think that'll be okay. I think we'll leave them another few weeks, and then we'll kind of cut into them. But that's kind of quite interesting, isn't it? Now this one's going to be a little bit messy. I guess it was wrapped in ash. So I don't know what's going to happen with this one. I think the ash will have fallen off it, and we might need to. Alright, okay. And that's just protected it. Has it shrunk, and therefore the ash has fallen off? It's still dried out, but the ash has fallen off. Okay. And it's got cracks in it. So It's quite hard, is that one? The ash has obviously drawn out moisture and dried it out quicker. That's a lot harder than I thought it would be. So, have I still got that bit of dried feta in the fridge? Hang on. I think I have. No, that's other things. So, this was the bit of feta that I just kind of left from the first experiment. Get a knife. Completely the wrong type of knife, doesn't matter. So, I suspect that cheese has gone like this. Alright. Just tastes like old cheese. Needs throwing away. So I think let's get another knife. So what's happened is the ash has drawn moisture out of the cheese, and then the moisture is evaporated off the ash. That's why the ash is dry, and it's just speeding up the drying process. As the ash, I don't know. Yeah, so the ash has formed. It's acted like a crust, which is just. No, it hasn't. What would be something that would draw moisture from something? There'll be some kind of chemical where it draws moisture out of something, and it's just carried on drawing out the moisture, and it's dried off on the outside, and then the ash is kept dry while still sucking out the moisture from the cheese. Let's cut into it and see. I don't think I'm going to carry on this bit of experiment with the feta wrapped in ash, because it's not kind of gone how I wanted or how I expected it would do. You know, I thought it'd be like one of those interesting goat's cheese that are wrapped in ash. Alright, okay. It's still kind of creamy on the inside, like that. So, let's give it a try. With a little bit of ash. That's quite nice, isn't it? That's quite nice. I wonder if I should have dusted that one in ash and then put it in the container. I've still got some ash, I'm sure. Have I? Yes. Got. I've still got some ash. I should not throw things away if I might be using them again. So I've still got some of that ash. So what I think I'll do is I'll buy another big lump of feta and we'll wrap some of it in ash, and then we'll put it in a container and we'll stick it in the fridge and we'll see what kind of happens as part of this experiment. So I'll buy some on Friday, and then we'll give it a couple of weeks in a container in the fridge and we'll see what happens. But it's kind of quite interesting. I'll wrap it in another bit of cloth, but it's drawn out moisture and it's kind of gone creamy, so with a bigger lump. So it'll have drawn out moisture. No, not really. No, it won't have done because it's got those cracks in it. Yeah. So it's probably not the best cheese to wrap in what we call it, in ash, and dry it out that way. Probably would have been better putting it in a container. Yeah, okay. So that's what we'll do. So those are the updates, and then we'll kind of see what it looks like. So you don't need to see me doing it. I'll just buy a container. I'll just buy some a substantial lump, maybe like twice that size. So what does that weigh? Turn the scale off. So that was probably like a 200 gram lump, probably more, maybe 300 gram lump. So we'll buy like a 400 gram lump of feta, and then we'll wrap it in. We'll dust it in the ash, and then we'll age it for a couple of weeks and see what happens. But that'll be kind of quite interesting, won't it? I've got a big lump of feta. It's about 450 grams. So hopefully I've got enough ash in there. It's a little bit wet because I bought it on my mate, the cheesemonger, and I walked back. So it's at room temperature because obviously I can't carry a fridge with me as well. So it's warm and it's slightly weeping, but I think that'll help the ash stick to it a little bit better. So that and there. And then, because we're going to leave it in a container that's not going to dry out, it should mature in a more interesting way. I've just got to pat ash on it relatively evenly. Don't want too much on, just want to make sure it's covered. And then we'll leave it in the fridge for a couple of weeks and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't want to disturb it anymore than that. I think it's alright, I think it's well covered. So in a container, rest of the hands. We'll keep that ash in case we need to just put a little bit more on. But hopefully what will happen is, because the feta's a little bit wet, it will soak into the ash, and then hopefully the ash will stick a little bit better. And then we've got a lid. So it's not touching the lid, so that's okay. I'm slightly worried about that. It's not too big, the container. I would have preferred something a little bit smaller, but I think that's fine. And it's airtight, so it's going to be in the fridge, and it's going to be in its own little environment. And I'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed, eh?